Welcome, sports fans, and hold the head pins. Or maybe it's hold the head pins here on the RBE Suppliers Tournament of Champions. Rick Mitchell here. Who else? I'll be your host today as we declare a winner for November 1991, our annual Christmas show to be shown in December. And our winner will come from one of the following 5 qualifiers. Qualifying in 5th position today, making his 2nd appearance on the show this year with a 268 average, Roger Galbraith. And he'll be making his 3rd appearance of this year with 273 average today, Doug White. The winner of that game will go on to meet someone who's making his 4th appearance on the show this year, Steve Barker. And in 2nd place today, making his 1st appearance this year, we haven't seen him since last year, Nat Amendola. And in number 1 spot today, no stranger to the TV show here, our Suppliers Tournament of Champions with a 281 average today, Pammer Knight. And that's our lineup, all here on Professional 5-Pin Bowling, coming to you today from North End Bowl, the home of champions. Joining me now as our bowling analyst, Coach Bert Harding. We're down to the last 2 months of the show, Bert. We're looking to see who's going to make it on the big one. It's getting exciting.
Well, I tell you, we didn't just find out anything today because we have a few people who are down in the list, but making a move. We got Nat in there today that hasn't bowled this year on the tournament.
Yeah.
Roger Galbraith's in there again. Roger, he had an exceptional day because Roger never threw a big game all day. He just threw nice and steady 260s, 270s. So, and of course we got Barker and Palmer Knight back again, so it should be a very interesting show.
Great, a first-time appearance by somebody. Just take a look at my stats here and see if he's how many times he has been on. Well, Nat has only qualified twice before, so this is only the 3rd time ever that he has been on our show. And the bowlers are about ready to go now. It looks like Doug White will be the first bowler. Like I said, our annual Christmas show, you can tell by the hat I'm wearing that I wear every year, and of course Santa Commodore here on the TV screen.
Dougie threw a beautiful ball to start with. Good feedback.
And there's Doug's.
And there's Dougie in
shot
with his good spare.
And
So it looks like it could be interesting.
Rogers first
and
ball
Roger,
of the day. It's a good one.
I ain't going to say nothing because I bowled this fella last Monday night, and we beat them pretty good the first 2 games, but these guys held on, and Billy Lyon and Roger and Stevie Kerr all threw 300 games at us, so watch out. Roger's been bowling real well lately. A quick double, out of the gate real fast.
Two in a row for Roger Galbraith. Doug White in the catch-up position right away, right after the first frame, looking for a big strike.
And
that'll make the game more even.
And
Sparing a strike for Doug.
Dougie made a big move in the last 2 games today. Shot games of 370 and 304 in the 4th and 5th games to come out of the pack and move right into the top 5.
Excellent shooting. Well, his third game was 265. That's not too shabby either.
Yeah, but with that 265, he only had 690 for his first three. But then he turns around and throws nearly 700 for his next two.
Very good shooting today. Doug with two in a row, a spare and two strikes. Roger started with two strikes, looking for number three. Good lift on the ball.
And there it is.
In the pocket.
Yeah, Dougie had 939 for his last three games. I didn't notice. I knew he had two big ones at the end. I forgot the 265.
This is only the second time that Roger has qualified for TV. Ever. Both times this year. One of those bowlers has really come a long way in a short time. Started bowling our tournaments 2 or 3 years ago. And already he's on TV today, making his second appearance of the year. And a big spare for Roger.
It is a big spare.
All black marks from both bowlers so far today. Doug with a spare, two strikes. Roger with three strikes and a spare. And another big one from Doug. Three in a row. Both bowlers now have had three strikes in a row here in our first game today.
In that 370 game, Dougie threw 7 in a row. You know, so he's quite capable of throwing the string at you. And he's got his cheering section here today too. His sons are his sons are in attendance here. Ooh, another big one. Here we're having a good game. No, don't count anybody out. They've both got 4 strikes and a spare.
Yeah, the way these two are going, boy, this is like we expect our last game of the day to be. Just fantastic bowling from these first two bowlers. And there's another big strike for Roger.
Isn't this beautiful?
Oh, he's just laying it out there on the lane. Just beautiful, both of them. That was Roger's 6th frame. He has 5 strikes and 1 spare. Doug bowling in his 6th frame now. He has a spare and 4 strikes in a row. This will be number 5 if he gets it.
Oh.
Beautiful shooting. 5 in a row for Doug White.
We've got a 25-pin game. Tied in. Both men on a double. Dougie has 165 in the 4th, and Roger has 140. Just a matter of that spare where it came. Well, we're getting a little action on the corner.
6 in a row. This is just fantastic. Roger must keep striking
some good action on the corner
here. Yeah.
Well, monkey see, monkey do.
Keeps them going. Now it's 3 in a row
25
for
pin
Roger.
lead.
6 in a row for Doug White. So after 7 frames completed from both bowlers, Doug still with a 25-pin lead. And that's mainly because he strung his strikes together. Roger had a spare in the 4th frame, breaking them up. 3 strikes, a spare, another 3 strikes. This will be 4 in a row. Oh.
Corner pin spare. Corner pin. Spares this up. He'll still be in all right. Very nice pinning, very nice pinning.
Trying for number 7. 7 in a
Whoa.
row.
That matches his 370 game. He had 7 in a row in that game.
Well, the bowlers here, when they're bowling the qualifying round, they have a 7 in a row jackpot, where if they all put so much money in every week, and if they get 7 strikes in a row, they pick up the pot. So I don't think the TV games count for that. But if they did, Doug would be the big winner of the 7 in a row jackpot. Looking for number 8.
Oh, got a little quick. Got a little quick. But he does have a 32-pin lead. Oh, okay. 320 in the 8th.
Just great.
Possible 395.
Picks up his spare there. That's 2 spares and 7 strikes for Doug White. Oh, there's one.
Isn't that
for
marvelous?
Roger. Yeah,
I knew that on Monday night when we played these guys, there was no quit in them.
he's not going to let up either.
No, sir. He can go to 378. He can make Dougie earn the
The
game.
score after 9 frames, 320 for Doug White, 288 for Roger. Roger with a strike in the 9th, Doug with a spare. So Roger still has a chance.
Ooh, Merry Christmas. Isn't it beautiful?
It certainly is. Roger right back with a couple of strikes.
You
After
know,
a
it does
spare
my
in the
heart
8th
good.
frame.
These are more or less 2 rookies in tournament shooters in this town or this area, and they're putting on a display like this.
They're putting on a great show. Yeah, just great. Oh yeah,
Oh.
Roger's gonna strike out for sure.
Strikes out for 378, you know, and he could lose with 378.
Yeah, Doug with a
That would
possible
be
395, although he did miss the head pin the last time he was up, the last frame. The pressure is on. And there's Roger, and yes, he struck out beautiful. 378 game. Roger
What a game.
Gilbraith, only the 2nd time ever he's been on TV. And he gets a big round of applause from the crowd for throwing that one.
And, you know, it's unfortunate that we got to have a loser here because that's a tremendous game, and Dougie's got a tremendous game.
Yeah, just great. Doug now with a possible 395 if he strikes out. His first ball in the 10th frame. He's hit the head pin. Yes.
Isn't this
Cuts
sweet?
Rogers' lead down to 13 pins.
He only needs a spare for 380.
This has to be not the highest game ever on TV, but
Now, what would happen if he gets a corner pin and misses, and we got to tie at 378? Now, if he takes and plays this penalty and gets a penalty shot and leaves the corner, we're tied at 378.
okay, then we'll have
Wouldn't that be nice?
we'll have a roll-off. Probably very fitting the way these two bowlers have bowled today. There's the second shot, looking for a spare, will win it.
We have a tie at 378.
Exactly
we have a
what
tie
Bert
at
predicted.
378.
And another big round of applause for these two bowlers. They almost deserve to tie in that game. Just fantastic shooting. Both bowlers end with 378. Just fantastic games from both bowlers. Bert is now over explaining to them what happens in the case of a tie. And what happens is that both bowlers re-bowl their 9th and 10th frames again. And they bowl in the same order that they bowled that game. So I believe Doug started. So Doug will throw the first ball in frame 9. And then Roger will come in and bowl frame 9 and 10. And finally, Doug will bowl his 10th frame if necessary. Unless he knows he's already lost. So that's what's going to happen. Doug is now going to throw his 9th frame again.
There's no doubt about it, that's the highest tie we've ever had.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh, it could have been aces.
Yes, and it could have been a strike.
Gets a break, a kick back on the right corner. He's now shooting for the left, looking for a spare in the 9th frame. And there it is. It's only happened once before that we had a tie and then the bowlers bowled their 9th and 10th and tied again. So it is possible for these two to keep going. However, we'll see. Roger ended up with 4 strikes in a row. This would be 5 in a row if he gets this one. And it is a strike in the 9th frame for Roger. Re-bowling. And of course, he had a strike the last 9th frame that we saw him bowl. Roger now going up in the 10th frame. He has a strike in the 9th. Doug with a spare in the 9th. So Roger just a little bit ahead. Okay, we're going to even things up here again. If Roger spares this and Doug gets a strike in the first ball of the 10th, they'll be all tied up again. It'll depend on both bowlers' last ball. There's the spare. It could depend, everything, the whole game could depend on this last final ball that Roger's throwing here right now. And then, in turn, when Doug gets up, his final ball. Lays it out, and Roger ends with a big strike. So a strike, spare, strike.
60. So Dougie has to have a spare, strike, spare. And they'll be tie again.
Right, right.
So Dougie needs 2
Doug
strikes to win.
Must have a strike in the 9th anyway to have a chance. Or in the 10th, the first ball here. Must throw a strike right here or it'll be all over. Doug gonna take a long time with this shot. A lot of pressure. Everything depends on this ball. Oh!
The game is over. Roger wins.
Roger is the winner of game number 1 today. A heartbreaking finish for Doug. But you could tell by that round of applause from the fans here that was well appreciated. The highest tie we've ever had. And in fact, I'm going to look that up because I think there was one higher.
A tie?
What?
I don't know.
No, maybe it was 286. It was either 286 or 386 we had a tie. Maybe it was 286. Anyway, probably the highest game we've ever had as a tie, and a big round of applause once again.
Fabulous, fabulous.
For Doug White,
Just
who
fabulous.
loses with a 378. You got to be proud of that.
Well, when you say 378, but for his, if you want to say his 12 frames, taking the extra 9th and 10th, he's shooting nearly 330, isn't he?
Yeah.
378
Yeah.
and 58
Must be.
is 436.
Uh-huh.
436 for his 12 frames. Now that's pretty fair shooting.
It sure is.
Unfortunately, the other fellow shot 438. Beat him by 2 sticks.
Okay, we're way behind now, so we're going to
gotta
go
go
right
now.
into the second game. And coming up on the screen, somebody that's no stranger to the TV show, the fans around Oshawa here, Steve Barker.
Here's a guy that can hit the lights, I'll tell you. I have the good fortune of bowling with this boy on Monday nights, and Steve unfortunately lost his grandfather last weekend, and so he had to leave us, and he shot 1,000 and something for his 3 games.
Is that right?
It's 2 300s and a 400 last weekend.
Roger back on the headpin in the second frame. Comes up with a spare. Steve starts with the big strike. These two bowlers have never met before on TV. Roger now in the second frame.
I think Roger is suffering the big letdown after that.
Well, I think anybody
tremendous
would.
battle.
Whoever won that game or came out of that game alive would would suffer a letdown. You have to after bowling that well.
I'm afraid that after their game, everything else is going to be anticlimactic tonight. That was the whole show. Too bad we couldn't reverse this tape and have that be in the last show.
The last game of the day, yeah, right. Steve now in the third frame. He starts with a strike and a spare. And another strike. Steve has come on once before, back in June of 1988, and he won the last 3 games to win the tournament. Roger's struggling a bit after that fantastic first game. And nice ball. Back with a spare. So after 3 frames, Steve Barker with a 30-pin lead. Not too much. That's about what the lead that Doug White had for most of the game in the first game. 25, 30 pins. Roger now in the 4th frame. Well, he hit the headpin a little light. You got to have a little bit of luck to get a huge game like that. Every time he hit the headpin, the last game, it was an automatic strike. This time he's finding it a little different.
I think Roger is suffering from the big letdown. Keeps picking up his wood. Anything could happen. Yes. Once this boy gets started, there's not many better around.
Beautiful ball from Steve Barker there in the fourth frame. 2 strikes in a row. Looking for number 3 right now. And the whole difference in this game is Steve has qualified 23 times for TV, Roger twice. Steve has bowled 35 games on TV before this one. So that's the difference in this game, the experience. Steve's an old hand at getting out there, throwing strikes and winning these games on our show over the years. Since 1986 when he started bowling in the tournament. And there's an example of what I said before. In the first game, every time Roger hit that head pin, it was an automatic strike. Now, well, he's got to work for them. He's hitting the head pin, but he's getting some lousy breaks.
But he's still pinning rather nicely.
Oh, the ball is still there. It's just not the first game.
Roger, yes.
The game halfway over. That was the 5th frame for Roger right there. Steve Barker with a 68-pin lead and a possible 388 game if he strikes out from this point on.
Yes, the letdown is complete. Roger is really suffering the letdown. Hello, Ike. I really don't, you know, how can you say you feel sorry for the fella when he did what he did in the first game? He must be feeling, I think even if he gets beat this game, that he's going to remember that first game for the rest of his life anyway. No, because it was some sensational shooting. And of course, he's meeting, to meet 2 Tigers in a row is pretty rough.
And Steve now with another 2 in a row. Twice today he's had 2 in a row. The first time ruined by a right corner. We'll see what happens next time. Roger, meanwhile, he's struggling. A chop off and a head pin. He is working on a spare. Looking for a big strike. Oh.
That's what he really needs, another split. A chop off, a head pin, a split.
Yeah, well. Roger just praying this one's going to go down now. There it is.
You know, I was looking at his games here, the 5 games he rolled in the roll-off. 267, 262, 263, 276, 274.
Well,
12 pins between each high game and low game.
Yeah.
Nothing over 276 and nothing under 262. That is steady shooting.
Very good, consistent bowling today, yeah.
And then he has that 3, well, he finally got a break. Then he has
Yeah.
that 378 game. Wins the roll off with 60.
Steve now bowling in the 8th frame, still with a possible 388 if he bangs out here, or from this point. Oh. Now Steve with some bad luck.
Yes, Steve got his split now.
If anybody was going to spare that shot, it'd be Steve Barker.
Yeah, one way or the other. Well, Steve can close him out here. If he...
Yeah, the 8th frame and 106 pin lead. It looks pretty good for Steve. The asterisk hasn't come up yet, but I'm just waiting for it. Nope. A little light. There's the big spare in the 9th frame for Steve, and the asterisk has come up, signifying that Steve Barker is the winner of game number 2. So Steve on his way to repeating what he did in June 1988, coming on and winning the last 3 games to win the tournament.
Well, Roger not giving up.
Yeah.
He's going to go out fighting.
Roger now with 2 strikes in the 8th and 9th frames. He'll be bowling his last frame. And if he strikes out, he'll end up with a nice 253, which isn't too shabby after the bad luck he's had this game. Oh, sure, they're always easy when you've already lost the game. You're more relaxed and just out there throwing balls. 3 strikes now, 8th, 9th, and the first ball in the 10th. 1 more and strikeout. Well, Roger came into today winning 50% of the games on TV, and he's going out today with the same percentage. He wins half the games he bowls on the TV portion of our show.
226.
Yeah, ends with a 226 game.
226, but you realize that gives him 600 for his 2 games on TV today? Not bad at all.
Well, I'd say a 300
it's no
average
record,
is
but it's
pretty
a
good.
hell of a good average.
Yeah. Steve also relaxed up there, as you saw by that shot. Just let it go, and the pins just got crowded down there. Okay, he got rid of the bad luck to end off game number 2. Maybe that means he's going to start with a strike in our 3rd game today. And he'll be meeting Nat Amendola in the 3rd game. Going back to this game, Steve ends with a nice 294 game to Roger's 226. And we're going to go right into the next game, because after that tie game, we're falling a little bit behind. So our next bowler going up now, Nat Amendola, just coming in fresh off the bench. I guess he's been doing some practicing over there before he got on, but he is the new bowler. He'll be throwing the first ball, which means he gets to see what Steve finishes with in the 10th frame before he throws his 10th frame. And this is the first appearance this year. In fact, it's the first appearance by Nat since 1986. it's been a long time since we've seen that. Coach?
Yes, it has been. Not a little nerves here, I think.
Probably.
I guess I've watched Nat since he really first got serious about bowling when he was bowling with us in the Friday Night Industrial League when he bowled for the Scar Pepler team.
Watch me.
Well, 10 pins.
Yeah, both bowlers start with, well, I can't say that word, a rotten frame.
But Nat, I'm sure, will loosen up a bit here.
Yeah.
A little tight being his first time on TV for a while, and he's meeting one of the top shooters in the district. But the top shooter in the district starting out picking 2.
Helping out on our show today, down on the scoreboard there, you might catch a glimpse of her head if when we go down to the scoreboard, is Jody Moore. She's doing our manual scoring for the bowlers down there to see. And our computer scoring, somebody who won the tournament, the whole thing last month, Wendy Harding. And on the camera this week, he hasn't done this for a long time, the guy that does all the jobs, Bobby the Brain Marsh.
He's closer. Spares this up, we can have a tie game. Very close.
I kind of miss Dave Cardinal on the camera this month because this little Santa Commodore, as I call it, Santa Claus up here on the screen, this just used to drive Dave nuts because well, it's not flashing anymore, but it used to flash on and off, and every time it flashed on, it's just a big white glare on the screen, and every Christmas show it just drove Dave nuts, and I used to enjoy that. Nobody to bug me this year.
Yeah, Nat's a little, coming up just a little quick.
A little tight, yeah.
He's coming up off his spot just a little quick. If he stay down just a little bit longer, he'll be all right.
Somebody should just grab him on the shoulders and give him a shake to settle him down. Just a little bit tight up there. Well, like I say, it's been a long time since Nat was on, 1986. And before that, 1984, he was on once also, so.
You know, for our fans watching that, I hope they realize that the first game today, he shot 375 coming right out of the hoops. Of course, there isn't the pressure on him that there is at this point where you lose and you're out.
Yeah.
Oh, our high singles today.
Yeah, we must have had some good ones.
Wendy Harding won the first high single. We had a tie in the second game. Gary Grant Sr. and Dave Slappendell. They tied in the second game. Third game went to Bob Lyon. Fourth game went to Fern Terrio. And the fifth game went to Steve Young. Young Steve Young,
and he was also our sixth place finisher today, our alternate.
He's a runner-up.
Yeah. By how many pins? Was it close? 15 pins. 15 or 16?
Maybe
15.
Steve was 15 out behind Roger. Yeah, Yeah, he shot 327 the last game.
Uh-huh.
Attention, please, Jones. Jones, come to the counter for Lane.
So, after 3 frames, Steve Barker with a 22-pin lead over Nat Amendola. Steve's got kind of lucky today. He's playing a couple of people who have only been on the show a couple of times before. Of course, that's all going to change in the last game. Because whoever meets the winner today, he'll be meeting somebody that's been on a heck of a lot of times.
Steve is already, look at it, 3 head pins in the right-hand corner.
Yeah.
Steve has lost the work on the ball. If Nat can get started here, he'll be all right. And here he goes. Watch out now. Watch out. That could very well make it pretty close to a tie game.
Well, the first strike of the day for Nat and the first strike of this game for either bowler. Of course, all Steve's doing is picking head pins. 3 out of the 4 frames, Steve picked the head pin. Nat looking for number 2. Nope.
Gets a spare here. We'll have a 2-pin ball game again.
Uh-huh.
That's what we've got. 2-pin ball game. 62-60 for Steve Barker.
Steve still looking for his first strike of this game.
Oh.
Well, that looked like a for sure shot.
Sometimes Steve can get some funny hits. This young fella has as much turn on that ball as any man I know.
Uh-huh.
And he can make those pins do funny things sometimes. Sometimes you think it's a walk-away strike and he ends up with aces or any kind of trouble.
There, finally, Steve with a strike in the 6th frame. Game number 3 here today in our Christmas show.
Now we need Nat to get a strike, so they're still 2 pins apart and they'll be even. There we are. Both boys have a strike in the 6th, and it's after 5 frames. It's 92-90 with both men on strikes. Terrific.
Yeah, both bowlers making a game of this now.
It's not as high scoring as the first game,
No,
but it's close
just as
and
close.
exciting.
Just as close, yeah. If both bowlers are close, it doesn't matter how high the scoring is. It's still exciting because there's always the possibility of another tie, of course. And really stretch our time limit of 1 hour.
Of course, with those fellas, the way they got so many strikes the first game, the couple extra frames we had them bowl maybe didn't cost us as much time as it would have, say, after this game.
Yeah.
If we have a tie.
So now with a strike and a spare for his 2 frames, the last time he was up. Steve with a strike working. And
Well,
he's off again. Off the head pin again.
He can't do any worse or any better than stay 2 pins ahead. He spares it up. He'll maintain his 2-pin lead.
Yeah, yeah. I think he'd like a little more comfortable cushion than that, though. Oh.
Well, he don't have that 2 pins anymore.
No, he doesn't have that comfortable
Nat
cushion.
now has 8+.
And a 15 count for Mr. Barker. In the 7th frame, Nat Amendola with an 8-pin lead after his 7 frames, 135 to 127. So
Yeah.
still an extremely close game. Could go either way.
Yeah, if Nat comes out and throws a strike, though, he can up that lead to 23 pins.
And once again, Steve missing the head pin. 2 frames in a row now.
Well, first of all, Ed missed it for 6 frames. Now he comes out and misses it twice in a row. And that's where you get in trouble. Just like that. The infamous penalty shot. I guess by the time the fans see this show, we'll be getting ready just about to, well, you'll have all the information out on the CBC roll-off that anybody that was watching, say, last weekend from the time this is taped, when Dale Strutt won the Canadian CBC TV Championships.
Uh-huh.
Well, the roll-offs for next fall's show will go, the roll-offs start around Ontario 1st of December and through December, January. Provincial roll-offs, I think, are in March, the weekend of March the 17th or March the 24th. So you people that are wanting to take a shot at Dale Strutt on the CBC show, he'll be back next year to defend his title. And Ontario will be declaring 2 champions, so you want to have a shot at all that big prize, and the prize money is big next year.
Increasing next year.
Oh, yeah. Second place is going to be $10,000, and the first prize, I think, is moving from 25 up to 27.
Yeah, right.
And the second place is moving from 5 up to 10.
Uh-huh.
And there's some other movement on the other prizes.
Yeah, well,
too.
I think there's $50,000 in it altogether?
More than that, I think.
Is there? Well, maybe it was
don't
50
matter.
this year and it's going to 60, but just great prizes. And I can tell the people out there watching now, if you're watching this show, you live in Zone J. If you're a Zone J bowler, the qualifying rounds for CBC this year will be on the second weekend in January. They'll probably be on a Saturday and the Sunday. 2 separate rounds. It's men and women together. Come out the second week in January and bowl in the CBC qualifying round.
Nat had a terrible break there too. Chop off a head pin. 15 count on the chop off. 8 on his head pin. Give Stevie a chance. Here he comes. Here he comes. Well, he can close Nat out if he strikes out. However, he don't want to leave a chance.
Yeah, Nat with just some real bad luck there. Chop off on a head pin. That's why we were talking about something else so long while he picked up his pins there.
Well, there's something.
That's not what you call a break.
A little extra count, but that don't help him.
Yeah. A lot easier to spare a 5-3-2 than a 5-2.
He must hit the head pin with this ball. Otherwise, you're going to go 23 count, 165. The most he could get then is 180.
Well, in all
And that would
likelihood,
only need 15.
in all likelihood is to punch that 5 out.
Well,
And
yes,
that's
but
what he did.
It makes it so he's got 170, he can go to 185 now. Nat can't win with a 15 count anymore. Nat must get at least a spare. So he had to hit that head pin to force Nat to get a mark. But Nat only needs a spare now. If Nat gets a spare and keeps it on the lane, he can't lose. He can tie, but he can't lose. Because you can pick off the 2 pins by keeping it on.
Yes, that possibility of a tie is always there. Nat now can win it all with a couple of marks here. Well,
he's out of the running. He can't win now unless he can spare this up.
well, yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be 185. He can go to 183.
So after one of the highest games ever from two bowlers, this is probably one of the lowest games ever for two bowlers here on the show. Steve Barker is the winner of the third game today with 185. I'm sure he's not going to be bragging about that one, but that's what he finished with. Nat Amendola finishing with 181. So just a 4-pin difference for these two bowlers. Now, because of the tie game, we ran into, we're going to run overtime, and we know that. So what we're going to do right now is change the tape, and we'll be right back. Marsh, you see on the
There she is.
Right
There she is.
Lena Chip.
There
These
they are.
The people. Our two bowlers now, I think, are ready. We told them we were changing the tape, and I think they both walked off. But they are, they are ready now. And the guy coming on your screen right now, going up in the first frame, is Palmer Knight, and he hardly needs any introduction at all because he has been on the show just numerous times. This is his 5th appearance this year.
As my wife called him, the Silver Fox.
Yeah, just having a super year, Palmer. And he also starts with a slow, start slowly in the first frame. Lane number 4 there, you see. And a big 15 count for Palmer. He picked up his pins, which, you know, that kind of relaxes you. If you have to shoot a lot of different shots right away and you get them, it relaxes you, settles you down, and he's going to come right back with a big shot in frame 2.
He had better, because I don't think 185 is going to win this game.
I don't think Steve is going to have that kind of game this one, no.
Well,
although
he punched again.
starts with a head pin, yeah. Talk about some TV averages for these two bowlers. Steve averaging 248 for his TV games on the show. Palmer, incredible, 262 average. And that's for 28 TV games.
Palmer hasn't been known to lose too many games. What's his record?
In fact, he wins 79% of his games on TV, so you're right. More than 2 out of 3 games on TV is just fantastic.
He is one of the best clutch shooters in this district.
That must be one of the highest percentage wins of all our bowlers here.
I would think so.
Yeah.
No, I think if you're building a team or trying to pick a team, Palmer Knight would have to be one of the guys you'd pick off the bat early to have a real strong team. He's a real competitor, really sticks in there. He's tough to beat.
Yeah, he has some great scores. Palmer now in the second frame. And Steve with a spare in the second, so Palmer will be looking to match him in this one. Oh. It would have been a tie game if Palmer had a spare there. So Steve Barker with a 2-pin lead very early into this game. 2 frames from both bowlers. There's
Here we go.
Palmer
Here we go.
with a big strike in the third frame for Palmer Knight.
Stevie a little short with his arm swing.
Steve with a big couple of frames there, a spare and a strike. He's finished his fourth now. Pammer going up in the fourth. He has a strike working.
Yeah, here we come. Here we come. Could get exciting yet. 7 pins.
Yeah, after 4 frames. Yeah. Pammer was second in our 1989 final show. And Steve was second in 1987. And then he won it all in 88 and 89. So that means that Steve and Pammer met in the last game of 1989 final.
Yeah.
Steve was the winner.
Attention, please. Ernest and Williams. Ernest and Williams, come to the counter for lanes, please.
There's very nice pinning. Very nice pinning.
And looking over my stats now, I see that these two bowlers have met 4 times on TV before. And the game I just told you about, the 89 final, was the only time that Steve has beat Pammer. He lost the first 3 times before that. So maybe Steve has a little trouble bowling against Pammer.
Well, of course, with a 79% winning average, there's a lot of people that have problems with Palmer. Oh, and there you go.
Everybody has trouble beating Pammer.
There you go. He gave it right back to him.
Yeah.
Now we're going to cut it down to a 5-pin lead. It was 7. Now it can be 5 if he hits it. Now we've got a 5-pin lead.
Yeah, so after 5 frames from both bowlers, Steve Barker in the lead by 5, 108 to 103. The game is too early to call. Now we're coming right up on our hourly time limit, and we can't even predict who the winner's going to be here. So hopefully Cable 10 can stay with us for just a few more minutes till we find out the winner. There's Steve with a spare in the 6th frame.
Yep, right back. So this is going to be interesting. When this show is going to be aired on thing, I guess we should be into the zone rounds of the qualifying for the Open Championships.
The OV Open, yeah.
The OV Open is no longer, it's Labatt's.
Right, well.
Anyway.
They changed their name so many times I lose
Anyway,
track.
we'll be into that. So
Labatt's Open.
you will
okay.
probably see most of these fellows rolling in the qualifying rounds to determine our teams to the contingent. And we wish everybody the best of luck. And of course, to our fans who are watching, we wish them all a Merry Christmas, eh?
Yeah.
And
the people.
hope the best for the new year for them.
Right.
Hope they all come out and roll great big scores.
the people that that are bowling in the OV Open, the first week that they bowl, the first Sunday they bowl will be the first Sunday that this show is on TV. So it's very appropriate to wish them good luck in their OV Labatt's Open. And also a Merry Christmas to not only our bowlers, but to everybody who helps out here in the show. And the people at Rogers Cable 10 for showing this show every week. And last but not least, you, the fans out there. We wish everyone a Merry Christmas, season's greetings, and the best for the holiday. Stay tuned next month, because our next month's show, we'll be able to tell you the 12 people who will be in the 1991 final show of the year. So that'll be a big one.
Palmer has just been closing it out here 4 in a row. Steve's on a double. Steve's holding in there with him. We've got a 10-pin game and both on doubles. 193 to 183, and both men on doubles.
Yeah, Palmer.
Steve cannot close Palmer out. If Steve strikes out, Palmer can still win.
Palmer 4 in a row, Steve 3 in a row.
Oh.
Steve with a big break
That's
there.
what you call
The
a
first ball
swimmer.
of the 10th frame.
Well, the game won't be as high as the first game, but we started with a terrific match, and it looks like we're going to end with one.
Yeah, yeah. Both bowlers with possible 300s if they strike out. Steve in the second ball of the 10th frame, and that pin just won't fall over. Look at that. Has to settle for a spare.
Steve has to have this for 300.
As he throws the last ball of the
He
day.
gets 301.
Yeah. .301. Nice finish for Steve Barker. Now,
So
Palmer,
Palmer needs the first hit.
yeah, possible 328 for Palmer Knight. Oh,
Wait a minute, 43, 236. He can't win. 43, 236,
No,
and
that-
60 is 296.
that gave the game.
Maximum. Steve is the winner.
That gave the game to Steve.
Now, Palmer had to have the first hit. He had to match him.
So that's it. Palmer Knight ending with
301 to 279.
279, Steve Barker 301, and from Bert and I and the whole gang here, a Merry Christmas, all the best for the holiday season. We're way over time. Until next time, sports fans, bye now.
Keep 'em roll.
You want to bring Steve on for the VHS part? In case he wants this tape, we'll bring him on. Congratulations, Steve.
Way to go, Rook.
We're way over time, so we're just doing this for your benefit.
For
You'll
the-
probably want the tape. We've shut off the cable part of the tape, so, or your mother will probably want the tape or whatever it is. She likes watching these when you win, eh? Again, you came on for more than one game and won, though.
That's a bonus.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
unlike me. Although I shouldn't have made it past 2 games. No way
Yeah,
I should have made it past 2 games.
Well, I said I didn't think you'd be too proud of that 185
You
win,
all-
but hey,
You only have to have the highest score of the match.
Right.
You don't have to have the highest score of the day, or no one would have bowled after the first game. It's a tremendous thing. Tremendous finish here for you fellas, too. Palmer,
Yeah, well,
Palmer had to carry that corner.
Yeah.
He played it a little thin, and he got the slide, but
I
not
knew,
quite
I
enough.
knew I needed the double no 10 to make Palmer strike out.
Yeah.
And when I didn't throw the second one, I knew I might have been in trouble because anytime Palmer's got a shot, he's gonna
be
finish
close.
it. Yep.
So that's great. Anyway, congratulations. Merry
Thanks, sir.
Christmas.
Great.
And thanks for the 1,000 you rolled on Monday.
It's been a while.
Congratulations once again to Steve, and Merry Christmas to him, and Merry Christmas to Mrs. Barker. Bye now. .251 game, a 21-pin advantage, and that's the end of the